about some current trends, right? Like these inclusion riders and the public slaps on the wrist and all these things that we see going around at the moment. Like what do you think is working, and what do you think is not working or not even in place that could be helpful?
I would say that telling contemporary stories is, I think, because all of us lead contemporary lives, and we are plugged into our culture traditionally, but our cultures are always evolving and changing too. I mean, it's the thing that I always point out is people think of like the classic Native American riding a horse. We didn't always have horses. There were the dog days before that, so that was a thing. Like, we adapt. So I love just contemporary stories, and I think that's something that all of us can relate to in one way or another, and all human beings can too. So, and then thinking along the lines of just casting folks, natives in non-native roles, not only just being like, oh, this was a doctor, and, it didn't say Indian doctor, it said doctor, but also I think casting people roles that were not necessarily considered to be native in the first place, because so many of us are mixed, and there's no reason that we can't play those things. And again, to get to the practical side of getting people to act and getting people in front of folks, because most of the time as writers and people casting, we cast people based on things we've seen. They were awesome in that thing. They played the gas station, and they were really funny, or like it was a 2-minute role and they kicked butt in it, and then we pull them in, and then bigger role, and boom, then they're carrying a show. That's what we need.
That's definitely something that we spoke of last week before they did the New York panel yesterday too, is the ability for actors specifically to build a resume, because often it's kind of from 0 to 100. Is that what you see? Because those under fives and then those guest stars and those recurrings aren't necessarily available before then it's a series regular or lead.
Yeah, and it's very hard to go in an audition if you haven't had an audition in several months. Yeah. You don't have those chops. So that's one of the things that we're hoping to, get more information. Huh?
But I wanted to add,
and to be fair, I mean, it's like coming from the acting thing, it's extraordinarily hard to build a career and your craft on like the once a year when a show does the native role, and like, yeah, call up the usual suspects, and then it's like all of us looking at, hey, you again, hey, which one's gonna get the job? That's not a way we can build.
But also,
West Wing, remember the West Wing Thanksgiving? The West Wing would always have Thanksgiving.
Like, we can testify that we're around leading lives doing stuff the other 11 months a year. It's just so.
I think what April said is so important when she's casting something and it's in Maine, or it would be in Colorado, or whatever. We're everywhere. There's nations all over the country, and to just be aware. If you're a casting person and there's a story that's set in Maine, be aware of who is in Maine, what is Maine made up of. So I think a casting director could really be conscious, and that would really help out a lot.
Well, it's kind of being like there's a Hollywood version of what a bank looks like. Where we are location-wise. There's a Hollywood way of looking at it, and now I'm seeing a trend to say. That's not what my bank looks like. Like, I'll go to the Chase Bank in the Valley, man. That is not my bank. like the banker and that's what it is. Like, and I think I'm seeing a lean into that, which is helping us tremendously.
I also wanted to add that while we've been facing this issue of like the lack of diversity within our in our world, in our job. It's actually been really interesting for me as a young person in this industry growing up. I've been acting since I'm 5, and to just see how quickly, not only quickly the industry is changing, but also to see the lack of those opportunities has actually inspired an entire new generation, and just also the existing generation of people that are like, wait a second, I'm going to stop sitting here waiting for something. I'm going to start writing. I don't see this in film. Great. Well, I'm going to study and do this, and I'm going to like start creating your own content instead of waiting, sitting there praying like, please, please, please let me get an audition. Let me be right for this so I can sell a pink Cheerio to you guys. Like, just like it's been so wonderful to see like the passion it's ignited in people to, start telling their own stories. So
Did you